hot topic of the hour, Israel unleashing a wave of airstrikes on Gaza early Sunday, retaliating for what it says is, quote, a blatant violation of the ceasefire terms with Hamas, including sniper attacks and grenades launched at Israeli defense forces. Hamas, meanwhile, is accusing Israel of broaching the agreement. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff and the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, arriving in Israel today to make sure the agreement stays in place. Vice President J.D. Vance also saying he may join them this week. President Trump spoke with me in a Sunday Morning Futures exclusive yesterday, discussing the path for everlasting peace in the Middle East.
You came at the peace deal with the Qataris as a business person. You were a business person before the commander-in-chief. So is that the case you made for the Qataris to explain it to Hamas? Think prosperity, think peace, think riches, business.
You know, I don't have to make too much of a case because they're very smart people. And frankly, if Iran stayed strong, like as a military threat, I wouldn't have even asked them. It was really the decimation of Iran that got us there. Without that, we couldn't have gone to the next step.
And yet, as soon as you left, Hamas executed 7 people, and then they went on to execute 30 more.
Yeah.
Do you believe they really will disarm?
Well, they promised they would. They said they would. These are very violent people. This is a very violent part of the world. If we have to, we'll disarm them.
The U.S.?
Well, whether it's me or the U.S. or it's, a proxy, could be Israel with our backing. We won't have boots on the ground. There's no reason to. Is
there a timeline to get Hamas to disarm, in your mind?
Not a timeline, not a hard line, but we're going to see how it all works out. They've lived there for a long time. They're very violent, as you understand. You've been covering it for a long time. But we're going to find out. So it's not a hard timeline, but it's a line in my own mind. And at a certain point, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, then we'll have to do it for them.
Do you expect an expansion of the Abraham Accords?
I do, almost soon. I don't want to use the word immediate, but soon. The Abraham Accords are a miracle in a way. And the 4 countries that went in initially, including UAE, highly respected, big and highly respected, they stayed in. I hope to see Saudi Arabia go in, and I hope to see others go in. I think when Saudi Arabia goes in, everybody goes in, highly respected. But I think that they're going to all go in very soon.
So they've indicated to you a willingness to do so?
Oh, they have, even as recently as like yesterday.
And I thought that was really a good news nugget, Liz Peek, in terms of telling us that he spoke with the Saudis this week, as recently as yesterday, and they gave their willingness to join the Abraham Accords. That would be a big situation there.
I think that's right, Maria, and congratulations on your interview with the president. The Saudis, remember, always were primed to join the Abraham Accords. But unfortunately, when Joe Biden became president, the first thing he did was insult the ruler of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, and basically chill our relationship with that incredibly important country. So when the Biden administration talks about how they're responsible for all the good things happening in the Middle East, everyone should remember that he basically scotched any kind of relationship we had with Saudi Arabia. But I think to the more important issue here, President Trump and his team have teed up a very different direction for the Middle East. Prosperity, rebuilding, peace. Basically, everyone in the region wants that except for Hamas. So it seems to me Israel cannot be the group that basically wipes out Hamas or nullifies their presence. The United States can't do that with boots on the ground. I think it has to be a coalition of Arab states. And as he said, with the nullifying of Iran as a major threat to the Arab Gulf countries, I think they're ready to do that. My guess is they might take a role in basically demanding that Hamas lay down their arms, demanding that the most militant of these people basically end up in jail, because that's what may have to happen.
And everything you just said makes this next comment that much more rich from the Biden administration, Liz, because I spoke with the president on how the Biden administration is now trying to take credit for the Middle East peace deal. Watch this.
The Biden administration is saying that they're taking credit for the peace plan. Anthony Blinken said that they laid the groundwork for the peace deal before leaving office.
So let me just tell you how crazy it is. They backed Iran. They backed Iran totally. They deserted Israel. And let's say that their idea worked. Then you would have right now a nuclear-powered Iran, because Iran was on its way to a nuclear weapon under these people. They didn't set groundwork. They set the opposite of groundwork. They set traps, because they wanted, and they felt strongly, that they wanted to back Iran over the rest of the Middle East. And they did it with Obama, and they did it with Biden.
Mike, you remember during the Obama administration when I think we were talking about, paper bags full of cash that they were sending back to Iran.
Pallets of cash. But what do you expect?
Pallets of cash, that's right.
I wonder if Anthony Blinken was making those comments when he was jamming out with his middle-age, old timers jam band in the Hamptons. Just the worst, diplomatic disaster after disaster after disaster. Look what's going on in Ukraine. Okay, the situation we have within Israel. You thought Jimmy Carter was the worst, and then you got Obama, and then you got Biden, and this was it just went from, things just keep getting worse and worse and worse for the left, which I think will be a theme that we'll talk more about today. But for them to try to take an iota of credit for this peace deal is it's so laughable, it's beyond comprehension.